Anyway.
To be clear, I was congratulating Ryan's mom for coming out of the closet.
I get it.
You get it, but in case any of our listeners didn't understand that I was calling Mom's Ryan gay.
Mom's Ryan?
Mom's Ryan.
Mom's Ryan.
So you're calling me gay, is what you're saying.
Can we move? What were you going to say, Ryan?
Yes, what's
Can we
wrong?
move on?
Yes, Mom's
Ryan came out to visit him. Hey, did you guys hear Daft Punk broke up?
I feel like Daft Punk's not a strong enough intro.
You don't think
They're old. They can't make music no more.
Why? They didn't. All they have
They're
to do
old.
all they have to do is push buttons. They don't have to get up out of their chairs.
Yeah,
anymore.
their little arthritic fingers are having trouble pushing the buttons.
Their little arthritic fingers.
What a comment about somebody. That's an insult that you should use on people sometime.
I hate you and your little arthritic
It's like,
fingers.
wow. I hate you and your arthritic fingers.
No, I'm just thinking
I just
about
watched.
fingers.
Have you guys went back and tried to experience the nostalgia of rewatching like old cartoons and stuff that you used to watch as a kid?
Yeah.
I purposely blocked out an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog where Miriam's cousin or nephew comes into town, and it's the one that that has an obsession with cutting Courage's hair. Do you remember that one?
Yes, actually, I do remember.
He had the creepy. He locked Courage in the bathroom with him.
He's got the creepy smile.
Yeah, he was just shaving Courage's.
God.
He shaved
Such
him.
a dark show.
He shaved him.
His name was Fred.
Yep. Yeah, Fred. He shaved him bald, but only left in writing, "Love Fred."
Yeah, with
love Fred in the.
I feel like there's a much bigger joke there if Courage was a cat.
Well, I think like the whole time they were implying that he was going to shave him, and then when he ran out of stuff to shave, he was going to keep shaving, and eventually kill him. And that was kind of the implication was that like when I'm out of hair, I'm going to keep cutting.
Oh,
so
Yeah,
I think that's why it was such a scary thing.
Because the
spooky for
problem
me.
was at the end, it was like a little ball of hair on the end of his tail, and like Courage was trying to hide that so he wouldn't get to it.
Yeah.
God. Welcome to Pop Culture Unboxing. I'm always the one that has to say that. You say it, Ryan.
Hey man, you're the star of the show, right?
No.
It's your world.
And you all just live in it?
Yeah.
I thought
Welcome
that was
to
wait, I thought that was your delusion.
Welcome to Pop Culture Unboxing. Oh, that's right. I believe I'm in a Truman Show situation.
yeah.
So you're gonna have to explain that one to me. What's a Truman Show
You
explanation?
ever seen Truman Show?
Wait. Finish the intro.
Welcome to Pop Culture Unboxing. I'm Ryan. And who are you? Who are you? Who are all of you? Who are we in this weird
Line.
expanded universe?
Line.
You're
Matt, your name is Matt.
Close enough.
I'm Jessica.
Nice to meet you, Jessica. Our special guest, Jessica.
Beal or Simpson?
Simpson?
I couldn't think of the
There's
one
some
from
blonde
Rick
in
and
the
Morty.
hair, so Simpson.
Okay, yeah, I'll buy it.
What were we talking about? What was I just talking about? Oh, Truman Show. You never seen Truman Show?
Yeah. What's the Truman Show?
Truman
experience?
Show is actually a pretty great show, but if you really think about it, it's a really, really effed up situation. But Truman Show is this director creates a TV show that when this boy is born, from the moment he's born, he has hidden cameras, and his whole life is a reality show, but it's filmed in a perspective of like it's just a written TV show. And what it is, the director, everyone on this town is all in on it. Truman's the only one that doesn't know. And what is going on is like all the events, all the drama that happens in his life, that's all filmed. And the reason the director does it, he says, because this is the only time you'll get TV that feels so real, like it's your normal upbringing of how you grew up. Because and people love the show, but throughout the show, as he gets older, he starts to realize like, why is every time I'm in a fight with my wife, all she wants to talk to is stare at me and hold this product up because she has to do ads for
The product
show.
ad.
Because like, and one of the right before the show ends, and this is the part that's really screwed up, is the director's big obsession on one of the interviews was like, this is this is the first time on daytime television you're gonna see human reproduction. So like his wife doesn't love him. She's just a star of a show, and like one of the big areas is like now Truman has to have a kid, so they're gonna film. Like that was the one thing I could never get after I watched it as an adult. I was like, wait, so you're basically gonna film these two doing it, and Truman's not gonna know? I was like, that feels illegal.
Yeah.
But
Not if you call it art.
But how they keep him in is Truman wants to travel because his dad loved to travel. Because his dad supposedly died drowning. So he tries to sail. How it eventually ends, if you're okay being spoiled by it.
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch
Spoilers,
it.
everyone.
Spoilers for Truman
Earmuffs.
Show. But eventually, like he sails off, and he keeps sailing, thinking he's going to make it. And I feel like at this point they actively try to kill Truman rather than let him free after he's already figured out the truth, because they put him through storms and stuff. Well, he gets to like he's like sailing, and then he just smacks the wall, and he just starts like scaling the wall until he finds stairs, and he leaves. And he leaves the thing. But there's a girl who was his crush in high school. She had a crush on him back. Well, she was about to tell him, so they kidnapped her and kicked her off the show. And just pretended that she disappeared. If you want to watch something really interesting,
I think it's on Netflix.
yeah.
So it's a show about a hypothetical show.
Yes, but it's
okay.
I may be not giving it a lot of good justice or anything like that, but it's definitely worth watching. It's also the first time you'll ever see Jim Carrey in a serious role, in like acting in a serious role, and showing how good of an actor he actually is.
Well,
Pause. You need to stay up on your mic.
Oh, sorry.
You're staying way too far away from it. So if you want to lean back, move it the boom up.
Sorry, I'll just get to like my
Yeah, you were
comfortable
getting
position.
really low on the
Oh.
thing there.
But yeah, that's what the
Wait,
show
so
is.
pause.
Yeah, so that's what the show is. It's really good. I like the movie a lot.
I haven't seen it in forever. I need to rewatch it.
That's one of those movies.
is it a movie or a show?
It's a movie.
Oh, so something I can sit down and watch.
Yeah, it's only like, and it's back when movies weren't too long, so it's only like an hour and 30 minutes.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah, I can
movie
do that. I
is
thought
like-
it was like a TV series.
No, this
of
is
this
a
thing happening.
This is a very
Because to be honest with you, that would be a great idea where you start off a TV show with like, hey, this is the director and this is what we want to do with Truman, and like Truman doesn't know, and like you you could build an entire series off of that, but that idea. But no, that's cool.
no. It came out, I think in the
Late 90s, right?
I think in the late 90s. Yeah, late early 90s, but
Yeah.
very good film. I highly recommend it.
You know what movie's surprisingly short? Nightmare Before Christmas. I always kind of forget that it's only like an hour and 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Hour and 10 minutes long.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when you tell a good story,
And it took 3 years to make.
That's because movies.
yeah, claymation is forever.
Yeah.
That's because movies nowadays are too long. Everything's
Yeah,
too
some
long.
of them are really-
A film that's too like, even like, you're gonna hate me for saying this, but Lord of the Rings does not need to be
Yes.
eight hours long.
Okay, no, hold up.
Well,
You're wrong.
I'm just
I
gonna
mean,
crack
and
a beer
stupid. And I have
sit
here
back.
a list of 100,000 billion reasons why you're wrong and stupid for
Okay.
having that opinion.
Well, we don't have time. We'll talk about it another day.
You know what movie I know is really good, but I haven't gotten around to watching it because it's so long? Is The Irishman.
It's hard.
Did you watch it?
I tried, couldn't.
I mean, I liked Taxi Driver.
I tried watching it at
That's
work.
Scorsese, right?
Yes.
I thought so. Taxi Driver's in that bracket of movies like Joker, which obviously because they're basically the same movie. Where Inception comes to mind too, and Revenant, where you watch them once and then you're good. Like maybe in 10 or 15 years you watch it again, but it's not like the Marvel movies where you could go back and watch them a couple months later and still get a bunch of enjoyment out of them.
Yeah.
Because they're movies that are slow, they take their time, and they have a specific story to tell that has big emotional beats. Or like Taxi Driver and Joker, it's just kind of depressing.
I was gonna say, have you tried to watch Joker again?
No, not since we saw it.
I tried to watch it I tried to watch it 3 different times. I tried to watch it the second time after we went and saw it. I think I saw it with Robin the second. Or no, I saw it with Robin first, and then I saw it with you guys the second time.
Yeah.
And the second time was a lot harder to watch, and the third time is a lot. I don't watch it. I haven't watched it since. But that's
Yeah.
because it's a amazing film. I love it, but it's one of those films. It's like I can't watch this
Yeah.
over and over again. But speaking of DC stuff, look at this.
Oh, transition.
I'm learning.
That was a good one.
We got her.
Yeah.
We got her,
Good
boys.
transition, Ryan.
We got her, boys.
We got her, boys.
We got her.
We got her. Amber Heard's been fired from Aquaman too.
Which I said this before the show. I thought that
That's
happened
so
a while
funny.
ago.
No, I guess no, because the news was brought to me over the weekend. Where'd my phone go?
So when is DC going to have a female superhero or metahuman? Because Amber Heard's not really a superhero in that.
Yeah, she is.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Mira.
So when are we gonna have a DC superhero that is not either in real life or in their movies a rapist?
Oh, we talked about this last time. Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Amber Heard was an abuser. She wasn't a rapist, was she?
Yeah, I don't know where
Yeah,
you're
I mean-
getting that.
Yeah, where are you
It
getting the
just
rapist part?
It's easier to say.
See, now
It's less
that's
of a mouthful.
It's easier to say.
There's
so
a
I'll just
slippery
call you
slope
this.
we're going down. I know she's a bad person. Let's just call her a rapist.
That's worse than. Oh, I'm sorry. I only have one reference, so I'm sorry. That's worse than when Kamala Harris got asked, like, how can you run with Joe Biden after you called him a rapist? And she's like, it was a debate. It's like, what?
It's not an answer.
It's like what kind of response is
So
that?
this is a quote. So there's a quote of why she got let go by Australian site Sausage Roll. That's what the
Okay. So big grain of salt here.
Well, Yahoo News is the one that's confirmed all this stuff, but I guess the exclusive came from this Sausage Roll place, whatever. But they said Amber Heard did not pass her physical examination. That's why.
Okay.
And they even put in, it said that she has put on some pounds and is in terrible shape. There is a clause in her contract which says she is required to be in good form ahead of shooting, and she violated that. So they're replacing her with Game of Thrones actress. Already had a connection with Emilia Clarke. It's written behind me.
Oh,
Look
they
back.
really are doing, because I know Emilia Clarke was one of the ones that was like a fan favorite. Like there was a ton of pictures that were going around saying, "Hey, look, when you get rid of her, give it to Emilia
it's
Clarke."
not-
Well, her
it's not
Star Wars thing dried up pretty quickly, so
Yeah, I mean it's not confirmed yet, but that's what it's looking like.
it'd be cool. She hasn't done anything awful that I know of, other than have a brain tumor, I think, which sucks.
Wait, what?
Emilia Clarke.
She did, or she
Yeah, she
does
did.
now.
She did. That's
Oh,
why
she did.
she has a foundation that, I believe, is for cancer research or something.
Oh, that's
because
good for
she had
her.
a brain tumor or something like that was really dangerous, but then they were able to remove it or something. I
Good
think.
for her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it
And
when
she gets her boobs out on Game of Thrones several times.
Good. Right. There's something for everybody.
I thought,
Cancer research and boobs. There you go.
Yeah.
you know, for a small
Something for
moment in
everybody,
time,
yeah.
I thought Matt had just something good to say about someone.
I did.
with
I had two good
no
things.
other
She
comments.
survived cancer. That's good.
Yeah.
We'll love it. That was great.
I don't see what was wrong with it.
I don't know why that caught me off guard.
It did. It caught me off guard too.
Well,
That was the goal. Thank you for noticing. Applause now, please.
here you go.
Now that we've thoroughly explained the joke,
The only thing that makes me, I really wish, and I'm kind of hoping it still happens, but there were action figures of her, Mira, and if her,
I
anything,
noticed your pop figure over here
yeah,
of her.
if anything like the Cara Dune figures, that's money, baby.
Yeah.
Like Ryan just got $70 richer. It's and everyone said collecting toys was a wasteful hobby.
No
Look
one
at
said
me.
that.
My parents did.
No.
Well,
What do they know?
That's true. They're not the ones with $200 extra sitting there.
Yeah,
'cause
and
I
they're
just
not-
sold a hot toy today.
And they're not doing a podcast right now either.
Yeah, I did. I sold a hot toy today.
Did you? Which one?
nice.
I sold my Deadpool and
Yeah.
I got my money's back for that one. I didn't get
Okay,
as much.
still.
Well, the thing is, you can't sell, and it feels I can't sell hot toys for $600 during COVID. No one's gonna buy that.
No, they're not.
Oh, there's someone out there that will.
But they also sell fast. I can always use the 250, in my pocket versus
Oh yeah.
But my hot toy shelves are starting to look. There's two spots that are completely bare.
Yeah, I see that.
I need to fill them with more Star Wars ones.
More stuff.
Ryan sells some of his stuff because he's worried about all the clutter and having too many things, and then turns around and uses the money he makes to buy more things.
The ultimate joke is that I complained on the one episode for me was that
The episode's literally called Ryan's a Hoarder, ?
I think Robin was one that pointed out, but I said that on that episode is like, I want to stop buying stuff. I want to like not fill my office space up. Immediately an hour later, I was already looking at Big Bad Toy Store, looking at toys. I was
That
like,
sounds about
she's
right.
just like, stop.
I still have.
Like, oh, you're right. I'm a
years
monster.
and years ago, I bought a 1.5 foot tall Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim, and I still have no idea what I'm ever going to do with this thing. It looks dope because it's huge, but where do you put that? Like,
I think that's the point of consumerism is you just buy stuff and then one day you realize I have no room to put this, and then it ends up in a landfill destroying our planet.
yeah, and that's what I came to that realization long before I bought as much stuff as you did.
But hey, you've afforded somebody a meal.
Like I've got a box full of
That's true. Yeah.
I've got a box full of die-cast Star Trek ships, and like I want to display like a dozen of them, and I've got 4 dozen.
Just
like,
put them on eBay. Just see what happens.
But then I can't be bothered because then I got to put it on. I got to take pictures, write a description, put it on there, and then when someone buys it, I got to ship it.
Do you want me to do it for you?
Not really,
See,
because I haven't committed to selling them.
see,
yet.
that's the problem. That's you. You're the problem.
I know. I'm often the problem. I've come to accept that.
I also hit this point where I have the fear of missing out. Like
Yeah.
I found out today that a Commander Cody hot toy that I had specifically see that space open there next to
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. That's what was supposed to go in there. And I asked for it for my birthday. I was like, yeah, it'd be fine, right? It's now on wait list. So it's sold out. It's never coming back. And I'm like, ah.
That was another thing that got me. Was the Bungie would do it whenever Destiny stuff would happen. They'd be like, "Oh, do this activity in game, and then you can buy a piece of memorabilia for it in real life." And I did the first couple times, and I'm like, "So wait, what is this thing doing other than taking up space and costing me money?"
Yep.
And also, they're trying to use the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out. Of if I don't get this now, I won't be able to get it
again.
later.
Didn't you do? But you did. There was one that you did that was a big importance because you were one of the first people to complete a raid, right? And they sent you a badge?
Raid jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get the raid jacket if you did it within the first 24. Or no, the jacket was if you did it by the next weekly reset. The day one was just an emblem in game. So I guess it was the raid jacket, yeah. And I got 2 of those, but I'm like, I never wear them because they're both too bulky.
You got 2 of them.
I got 2 of them.
Wow.
Not from the same raid, but from 2 different raids that happened half a year apart from each other.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And yeah, I spend 120, 130 bucks on these jackets and then never wear them because they're too thick. Like winter here doesn't get cold enough to justify them.
Oh, wait a minute. So you had to buy them.
Yeah. You don't get them for free.
I thought that they gave them to you for free. I
No,
was like,
the only
wow.
thing they'll give you for free for that is if you're the first team to finish a raid, they'll set each person in the team gets a raid belt, which is like a big wrestling style belt with
championship
Destiny
belt.
stuff on it. But
I
other
want
than that,
that.
I do too. But
I want that.
the guys who are doing the world's first stuff are leagues beyond any of us.
Yeah.
Even my clan that takes Destiny somewhat seriously, not me right now.
Yeah.
I logged in recently, did 2 things, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm bored. There's too much to do.
Yeah,
and
it
I'm
becomes work after a certain period of
I
time.
heard,
does.
I heard a lot of people feel that way about Destiny right now. Is that they're done.
Yeah.
A lot of people have checked out.
There's some cool news.
I
I'm
checked
excited
out
about
a-
changes they're making in the next couple months, but they're not making them yet. Like my big thing is I enjoy the
Yeah.
competitive scene of PvP in there, player versus player activities. But there's issues with it right now. Like there's a bunch of win trading going on. They disabled it for that. And the fixes that I'm excited for it aren't coming until darn near fall.
Well, they're updating the game, right?
Yeah, but they're
Like
slow.
there's a new expansion stuff coming.
Yeah, a
out.
new expansion came out 4 weeks ago. They release a new expansion every 3 months or so.
Oh, okay.
They call them seasons, and there's not usually a whole lot of content, but they have storylines and new gear and stuff.
Oh, I
And it
meant
just-
like I thought a whole new like big DLC.
Yeah,
like
no, they
the
only do those once a year.
or Forsaken.
Forsaken was the huge one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did Beyond Light this past winter, in
Yes.
November, and then the next one they already delayed it. The next one doesn't come out because usually they used to come out in September, early September, and then 2 years ago it got pushed back to October. Last year it got pushed back to November, and this/next year's expansion got pushed back till January or February.
Oh.
So they need more development time, obviously. Which, I mean, yeah, take it if you need it. Like, make the game good. But yeah, it doesn't inspire me the way it used to.
All these delays, man. You know what? Weird. Robin and I, or my mom came out over the weekend.
Oh,
right?
congratulations!
She came to visit, and
I was trying to think of a joke I could throw in there too, and I couldn't do it to him.
anyway,
To be clear, I was congratulating Ryan's mom for coming out of the closet.
I get it.
You get it, but in case any of our listeners didn't understand that I was calling Mom's Ryan gay.
Mom's Ryan?
Mom's Ryan. Mom's Ryan.
I don't want to talk.
So you're calling me gay? Is what you're saying?
Can we move? What were you going to say, Ryan?
Yes.
Can we move on?
Yes, Mommy
Mom's
Ryan.
Ryan came out to visit over the weekend, and
Your new nickname
we were
is
watching.
Mommy Ryan.
Don't do that. If we ever have employees, I never want to get the headline email, "Dear Mommy Ryan."
Oh God. If
over.
we have employees and they just hear one about like me their boss walking around calling their other boss mommy.
I would cry.
Our HR
I'd
department
quit.
is going to
I'd
hate
quit.
us.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I feel bad for
Bold
anyone.
of you to assume.
I feel bad for anyone wanting to be a part of our HR department.
Yeah. Or our department at all.
There'd be a report from me all the time.
So
being
after your
like,
mom came out,
yeah, my mom came out and she like cruising through Netflix,
yeah.
and a lot of those films are like foreign and they're badly dubbed. And we couldn't figure out why so many films that were being like broadcast to her, and they're all newer films. And then it like finally hit me. It's like, oh, because the only place that's been shut down the longest is us. Filming is still happening in
Everywhere
Europe.
else.
So
Yeah.
so Netflix needs to fill those films up because they made the promise that every week they're going to release something new to the platform, whether it's an old show or something they created. So it's like they've just been filming and doing. So that's why like it's weird that now I like just recently a pre-order came out for a toy for the new Black Widow movie, and I was like, I forgot that film's even coming out.
That was supposed to come out a year ago.
Yeah. And
It's actually going to theaters.
I have no clue anymore, man. I
I checked, by the way. No, the theater here still doesn't have any openings yet for Godzilla vs. Kong. But, or rather, they don't have showtimes posted yet. However, if we get enough people together, we could just rent a screen.
I was going to say,
I'd be up
weren't
for
they
it.
doing
I
that
would
thing
too.
where like we can spend $100 and just rent?
I know.
That's
That's
what
what
it is.
I'd be down for that.
I'd drop $100 just for the three of us. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's funny enough. I don't think it's that for three people. $100 is not that much more expensive than what they'll
Than
charge us
regularly
anyway.
going, yeah.
And I'd rather
And we'd have the whole place to ourselves. We could sit so far away from each other, but
and
we wouldn't.
scream
Yeah.
when something cool happens.
Oh my God.
Matt, did you see that?
Yeah. And if it sucks, we can just yell out riffs.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But it won't suck. It won't. I really hope it won't.
I feel like you threatened to be there. I don't know why. I just felt so threatened when he's like, but it won't suck. Looked me right in the eye.
For those who can't see on our audio podcast, I don't think I've ever seen Matt give a serious face.
Oh, man.
And it was almost like he had to explain to a small child that their dog had just died. He was like, it won't suck.
Oh, man.
It's just
I've
like,
already got the tears running.
it was just like, boom. It was like,
No, I won't. I won't allow it. By sheer force of will, I will make this movie good.
Speaking of which, do you know what's
That's so
happening
great.
soon? That Justice League, it comes out in 2 weeks.
Does it? Oh God,
I think it's
I'm not ready.
not this week, but next week it comes out.
All at once, or
I think it's just the first episode of it.
okay?
So remember,
so
we're
where's
gonna-
this streaming?
HBO Max, which I have now, so we're prepared for it. So we can stream it. Well,
Okay.
not physically like for fans, but we can do the watch along thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know how we'll do that.
wow.
What days does it come out?
Let me look. Well, we'll probably do it
I'll just check.
the weekend of when it
I
comes out.
realize I'm the one with the laptop facing me right now.
What's Ned from Spider-Man always says? Like the man behind the.
The man behind the computer.
Is that what it is, or is it
Yeah.
the man behind a keyboard?
Yeah, he wants to be the man behind the computer because it's like a Kim Possible
Yeah, but I
reference.
thought he called it a nickname or something. I thought there was like a cool name for it.
March 18th.
A man in the chair. Man in the chair.
Man in the chair.
That's what it was.
Thursday.
I was gonna say
Thursday, March 18th.
the real hero of
So
the
that
coming home.
weekend we could watch it.
Could. All
Get
together.
together. Yeah, just get together right here. Put it on
Yeah.
the computer behind me and sit. in
We could
chairs.
even hold hands.
Yeah, you guys can watch me cry every time something
Aw.
good happens and cry every time something bad happens.
Okay. I'm down.
It's great.
Or we'll cry with you.
I'm super excited.
I'll just kind of sit on the other couch and just kind of be like,
Do you think
why?
Wonder Woman's going to rape anyone in this movie?
What do you mean? She's always been. We just don't see it. Just go back.
Now she's got this picture that the Wonder Woman movies we see are just the brief points where she's not raping people, except for the last one where we also see that.
Yeah. Well, they were tested.
So
They're like,
messed
okay,
up.
do you want maybe one? We'll show one time it happens,
Yeah.
and then we'll slowly increase it. It's like a slow drip. They're
Yeah.
just gonna slowly drip rape until finally that's what the whole film is.
I know DC was taking a darker path, but geez.
Which, yeah. And I really hope it's not Patty
I don't know
Jenkins'
if
fault because she's making a Rogue Squadron movie, and I really need that to be good.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
They,
I don't know if
they
you
changed
saw-
a lot of that, didn't they?
What do you mean?
That Rogue Squad is
Rogue
not going to.
Squadron?
Yeah, it's not going to be what it was before now.
What do you mean?
That was just recently because I think.
I mean, the one thing they'll probably change is that Luke isn't part of it.
Well, I think that's part of it. Is like because they've gotten so much backlash over the last few movies because they're so
I know what you're
focused on nostalgia.
I know what he's talking about.
that
Yeah,
they're getting
Yeah.
away with
He's-
it. And there's
yeah,
also
he's right.
characters that are no longer part of the series that they are now going to have to remove from originally planned
Yes.
being in there.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I think no, you're thinking of a different one. You're thinking of Rangers of the Rangers of the Republic. Rangers of the Republic is the one that like Gina Carano might have been in, but now she's not going to.
oh, was it?
Well,
I thought it was
he's-
also bad.
Rogue
Rogue
Squadron-
Squadron's a movie.
Oh,
Rogue
I thought Rogue
Squadron-
Squadron was supposed to be another cartoon series.
No.
No, Rogue Squadron was the movie, but you are actually so they were changing. They're rewriting it, but no, he's right also about the Gina Carano thing. Gina Carano was supposed to be like the whatever the new film was called or the new show was called for Disney Plus. I think that was supposed to be her show. She
Yeah.
was supposed to be like a main star in it.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
Disney said no, so they're gonna so whoever is gonna be Cara Dune now, because I will be very shocked if they don't keep Cara Dune because she's kind of a big part of the Mandalorian now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like a lot of like the best episodes of the Mandalorian involve her, or at least some of the cooler ones that I.
Well, yeah, I think the best episodes of The Mandalorian pull from all of the main. Well, this is gonna be a weird sentence. The main side characters of the series, and those are the best episodes when everyone comes together at the end to like solve a problem, or everyone comes together in the middle to like solve a slightly smaller problem than the final problem.
So, looking at this Rogue Squadron thing, comes out in 2023. What's interesting is that the logo depicts a T-65B X-Wing, not a T-85.
Oh really?
T-65B is the type of X-Wing that appears in the original trilogy. T-85 being the ones that are like the half circles on the wings.
Yes.
Which is cool because that means that it's taking place during or shortly after the Galactic Civil War.
Okay.
But that just excites me because one of the earliest games I remember playing was Rogue Squadron on the PC. And the one thing I hope they do is keep Wedge Antilles as the leader,
I don't know.
because hasn't he been the leader in pretty much across all media
I think so,
except
but
when Luke's been there.
I think the one thing I don't know what they'll do. Hopefully they don't recast him.
They have to.
I don't. Well,
He hasn't appeared in anything since.
that's well. He appeared in The Rise of Skywalker.
Did he?
Yeah, he was in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, but he's too old. The
yeah,
actor's
he's
too old.
he's too old. You're right.
Like the actor worked in that. You're right. He did, because I was
I don't
excited
know.
about that. That was one of the few things in the movie I liked.
I don't know. They brought Luke back. Who knows? Disney's done crazier things
I mean,
before.
yeah, I don't think Wedge Antilles is a super recognizable face. You could recast him without. If you can recast Han Solo, you can recast Wedge Antilles.
I think they're starting because like they made a point because they're going to do a Leia one and recast Leia as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things where like I think one of the biggest pieces of feedback that Disney's gotten over what's been going on lately is like you guys are riding so hard on nostalgia that you're just expecting the nostalgia to get you through.
Please give me more Luke. I want to see Luke cutting robots up more, please. That's all I care about.
Well, yeah, if they actually made a dedicated Luke like storyline, you would have to recast him in order to do it. But that's also one of those things where it's like if you want to do something like nostalgia like that, then like build a story around it. Don't build the story around showing moments of the previous nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because like you build up all these events to that moment and then you kind of lose the story in the process.
You know what I just realized is that his Luke's appearance at the end of Mandalorian, which spoilers, but you should have seen it by now. That is how we get to remember probably the last appearance of Mark Hamill as Luke, and not The Rise of Skywalker.
That is a much better way to remember.
It is a
him.
much better way,
Terrible
even if it isn't
CGI
quite
and all.
his face
Shut
now.
up! You're crying, not me.
But yeah, no, you're right, Zach. Is that they've tried to ride the coattails of nostalgia, and Rise of Skywalker did it the worst.
Oh yeah,
They kept saying, "Look at this cool stuff from the original trilogy. Ignore what happened in the last movie."
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
with it.
Yeah, and that's such a terrible thing to do. Is like you build this thing, and instead of referencing the nostalgia, because like that's one of the things that I thought the Avengers Endgame did really well, is they built up all of these points throughout all their movies, and then they referenced things about them rather than like going back and showing you it, or like bringing it up like explicitly. Hey, remember that time when, like, the on your left thing was obvious enough without having to like remind you, hey, remember that was from Captain America?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what it does best.
That's actually a great example, because the only other time that comes up is at the beginning of Captain America 2 when he's saying it.
Yeah.
They don't set it up or anything like that. They expect you as the audience to know what
To remember
the
it.
reference.
And that's the way you do nostalgia right.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
and it seems weird because it's not nostalgia because it was all done within like a 10-year period,
I
but
think-
that's the way you reference your old material right.
I think the opinion for that, too, like my little opinion on that is why that hits harder is because not everybody, even if you've seen Captain America, like any of the Captain America films, that on your left thing may not register. So when you do a nostalgia, sometimes it's more rewarding when it feels like something that you were like, oh man, like it's something that not everyone's gonna get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like the on your left thing feels like something so small, but even like when I was in the theater, I felt a massive amount of emotion. I was just like, oh, on your left.
They
you know
brought
But
it full
there were
circle.
people next to me that didn't register that.
And
So-
that's exactly where like, and what I mean by like that's how you do it right is that if you didn't understand that piece of nostalgia,
it didn't
it
ruin
still
the film.
made sense.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't ruin the
And
film.
that's a huge deal. Is like your nostalgia still needs to make sense in a standalone story.
Exactly. What he says doesn't matter.
Yes.
All it is to tell the audience, this guy died in the last movie, but he's alive
He's
now.
alive now.
He could have said anything. He could have said, hey, remember those cookies we ate in DC that one day?
Yeah.
He could have said that for all it mattered.
Yeah.
But no,
yeah.
I think this ties back pretty well to what you were saying earlier about with the action with your Hot Toys and me with Destiny is the FOMO stuff. The fear of missing out is that a lot of directors will either not put this kind of thing in, or they will specifically bring it up and say, this is nostalgic for these people because of this thing in the movie, because they want everyone in the audience to get it, because they are trying to make a movie that appeals to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas when you look at something like Endgame, they are making a movie for the people who've been watching Marvel movies.
Yes.
Endgame was not for Joe Schmo who decided, you know what, they made a bunch of these, I'll go check this one out.
Well, yeah, and I think the thing that like, it makes it better because like I didn't watch all of the movies leading up to Endgame, but I knew all the characters. So like I'm sure that they did things like that for Thor and Iron Man and Ant-Man and things that I didn't pick up.
yeah.
But at no point in the movie did I look at it and go, huh? Look
Yeah.
at, because like there was one I didn't watch the Ant-Man one or the second Ant-Man movie, and apparently because you guys might be able to point it out, she says something to him about like the way he references Captain America or something.
Yes, Cap.
As Cap. Okay, yeah. And I didn't pick that up. But when she said, hey, go help Cap, like
Or when she said, you got it, Cap.
or you got it, Cap. Yeah, to me it was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that statement. Like
Yeah, but
it didn't pull me out of the
if you
movie.
know what's going on when they look at each other, you get to like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
It's like you notice, oh, there's something there. It's something that they know. But it's like, okay, did you just pull that out and throw it in there?
In
But-
recent media that Disney's done, and one is in The Mandalorian, and one is in the latest like WandaVision. Like back when we first meet Agent Wu in Ant-Man 2, he's learning how to do magic.
Yeah.
He like Ant-Man tells him to learn magic.
I forgot about that.
And then the first time we see him again, he knows how to do one of the card tricks where he makes his ID appear out of thin air. It's like, it's little things like that that keep the world so connected that it feels like a connected world. It's not the big pieces of like, hey, I saw her in Captain America.
Yeah.
No, it's those little pieces that help you make it feel real to you, because it feels like all these characters
For context,
are real people.
Agent Woo he first appears in Ant-Man 2, but then he's also
but he stars in Ant-Man 2 as the guy that checks up on Scott every time.
But then in
He's on house
WandaVision,
arrest.
he shows up as the FBI guy investigating what's going on with this town. I didn't notice it at first until I was watching something else on YouTube, and they used a clip from Ant-Man 2, and I'm like, oh, that's right, he was in there. But the one that jumped out at me from WandaVision so far is I forget her first name, Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica. I didn't know who she was until the show told me.
Yeah.
She was the daughter in Captain Marvel. And they didn't say it immediately. It was like an episode or two after she was introduced. I'm like, that's another good way to do it, is that for people who like Captain Marvel or have watched it recently,
They already know
you'll
it.
notice, oh, wait, she has the same last name. Is she the daughter?
Yeah.
But then the show eventually does tell you, for people like me who didn't catch it.
That's what I mean. For I watched.
But it didn't tell me like I was an idiot. It just brought it up in a conversation.
And there's some, like, I've seen Captain Marvel, so I knew who she was right off the bat. I was like,
well,
I knew who
had
she
seen
is.
Captain Marvel, but I never caught the name of her
Well,
friend.
that's the thing. It's like, it's little details like that that they tell you if you didn't pay attention to it later. But if you've known if you did pay attention to it, there's a little like, look, characters are connected. That's what I mean. It's like, it's little things like that that keep the world more connected for us all. People who would see through all the bull crap, or you who doesn't pay attention to the little things like that, and you see it later. You know what I mean? Or it gets pointed out later.
And a lot of that is because, you know, this woman when Captain Marvel was made, this woman wasn't terribly important. Her daughter wasn't terribly important. They were vehicles for the plot. Yeah. They weren't, their names were thrown out because you need to give characters names.
Yeah.
But at the time they weren't that important, maybe, unless they knew. But
that's like,
then you pluck this character out and put them somewhere else as essentially one of the main characters.
Yeah, I think what they do, and this might just be the way that they've put this world together, is that as they're starting to brainstorm, I think they go back and say, is there anybody that makes sense to do this next thing? And like, I think that's also kind of one of the things that kind of made Civil War suffer, is like when they did like the Zebo thing, it was like Zebo is just kind of a rando that showed up.
Yeah.
And like, it's just kind of
Zemo.
I said Zebo, didn't I? Yeah, sorry. But like, he's just kind of like a rando that shows up because of events that happened, and that might have been one of the worst ones, the way that Marvel did it, where it was just kind of like,
You mean Civil War?
Civil War.
Yeah, because he was just a vehicle to move the plot.
Yeah, he was a vehicle to move the plot.
I don't think he was terribly important. I think
That's the point. Is like,
I think the thing was, he could have been anybody. The Avengers were just in a position where any little thing would have pushed them into that position. Because they were on edge at that point.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the point, is like they kind of like threw his character. It's kind of like the same thing they did with Crossbones, where like Crossbones just was kind of thrown away. It's like, but Crossbones wasn't as big of a deal as like throwing your main villain into it, like with no other context and no other thing. And like, that was one of those things that I feel like they did wrong. But one of the things that they do really, really right is just that constant, like, here's someone that makes sense, let's put them there. Yeah. And then I'm not going to ram it down your throat. Because like, even when they make because like they make references to Iron Man in like every movie, because that's, for some reason, they want to do that.
Well, he started it all.
He's the most famous person on Earth.
He's the biggest portion of why the MCU started and works.
Yes, like, but I think the thing that even in their conversations with them, they make a point to say like, hey, when Stark does this thing, and then it moves along. It's not one of those things where like they have to sit down and be like, well, Tony Stark, and you know, here comes him, and he has to be in every single movie.
That's the point. Like, he's the oldest tree in the forest of Marvel,
and on top of that,
or the MCU right now.
I think he's meant to be the most relatable character. Is that you have all these other characters who are, you know, they tick all the boxes of superhero, but they're not. I don't know how to say it, they're not as flawed as he is. Like, he is such a deeply flawed character, but despite that, he does these heroic things. And so it makes him super easy to identify with, whereas you have a Captain America who does have his flaws, but he's super strong, and he is the absolute moral good of the group.
Well,
and not everybody identifies with that.
No, I love the and that's the big contrast between Stark and Cap. Is like, Cap is the guy, he is the hero that has faults, and Stark is the guy who has faults that chooses to be a hero.
Yeah.
And like that creates two phenomenal main characters because like when you're looking at a hero, you expect him to be a hero all the time. So like when you see that he has faults, it makes him more human, and it's like, wow, like even though he's failing, he's still doing it. And then it's also like the extreme opposite with Stark, where it's like this guy is so screwed up, and even though he's so screwed up, he's still doing the right thing. Those are like the two contrasts. It's like bringing the hero to human or bringing the hero human to hero is a huge storyteller.
I think that's the thing that makes me. Well, I also think it comes down to like the reason that these films are so good, and the reason that these films do what they do is because they're made with love. Like the people that are making them are loved. That's why Rob and I were talking in the car on a car ride home one day. Why does and the reason I brought that we were talking about the Mandalorian. I said the reason the Mandalorian is so good comparatively to everything to the other things that came out around it, Last Jedi and Star Wars Resistance, is all you could tell the moment those films were made when they were just tools to make money. And the writers were not people that cared about, they were just there to write a story and get their paychecks.
They had the boxes they had to check of like the nostalgia to do.
Yeah. But why the Mandalorian is so good and why people like Robin and them who don't have a connection to Star Wars like I do fall for it, like connect to it, is because the people that are writing it love it so much that they love every little detail of it, and they're willing to reach to put every little detail to keep this universe connected. That's why everything with the Mandalorian, like, well, you got Ahsoka. Never once did I feel like the Mandalorian, like I once said, season 2 I thought was going to be just this device they were going to use to announce their new stuff, but it always felt like it fit into the into the Star Wars universe. It always never felt nothing ever felt really forced for me, because the whole Thrawn thing, a lot of people say like, well, it's weird that they say like, who's Thrawn? Now it's like, well, no, if you tell someone who doesn't know who Thrawn is, that gives them a reason to go back and look at the other work where Thrawn's in. Oh, now there's these other good Star Wars, and now you're building a connection with Star Wars. And
that gives you the gateway to Timothy Zahn novels, which are all great.
And one of the things that like
did he write Shadow of the Empire?
Oh,
which was the first book, right? The very first expanded universe book. But actually, this book came out before Empire Strikes Back. Like, it's that old.
Yeah,
I think it was him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know. You have the computer in front of you. You can look it up real quick.
I like speculating, but I'll check it out.
Well, yeah. Make sure we're not wrong too. I want to make sure we get the right information. Yeah. Well. But I keep wanting to talk about it because I've never had a real chance to sit down and talk about it. But with the Mandalorian, there's an episode.
No, Steve Perry.
Steve Perry wrote.
Was wrong.
Shadow of the Empire.
Yeah.
There's an episode in season 2, which hit me, was the point that I knew The Mandalorian, I think, is my favorite show in the Star Wars universe right now. And I knew that this show was great because there's a section in it where they almost take something that you can identify with in the real world. And it's the section where Mayfield, do you remember? That's Bill Burr's character.
The first Timothy Zahn novel was Heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire.
Oh. Yeah. So I can see where I got it mixed up.
There's that section where him and the Mandalorian are trying to break into that mining facility.
Yeah.
And there's that section where Mayfield is sitting across from one of his old captains, and he's talking, and you see, it's like one of those moments where like they put more emphasis on like, the Empire is evil, but they have good purpose. They have a good reason for why they do what they do. And then Mayfield, like, he gets that like PTSD of like watching his friends die, and like, oh, these people never even this general
they
didn't
never
care
cared
anybody,
about us,
and he shot him. At that point, there was so much emotion that I felt there, and it hit me like hard. I was like, yeah, this show is doing what I always say I don't want my media to do. It has a political side to it, but they fit it into a point where it didn't feel forced.
Oh yeah,
I felt emotion behind it.
It was generally political.
And that was the point where I was like, okay, the people writing this like they love this stuff. They love Star Wars. They love what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
They love this universe. So that's the thing is I will always be drawn to something if you put. I don't care what you write or how bad the world or critics say it is. If you can stand there and tell me that you believe in the story you wrote, and you say, look, I know it may have some flaws, but this is what I was trying to. This is the story I wrote, and I believe in it. I stand for it. You can always tell that had love in it more than you ever find a cash grab. You never find you can always tell them the Predator film. The instant that movie start, you could tell like this is going to be a cash grab. And surprisingly, they didn't end it the way a normal cash grab would. And it was, I thought they were going to bring Dutch in to put on the suit, but they did.
Do you need some more money to finish one last job?
Yeah. Like,
so just to satisfy my own curiosity, Splinter of the Mind's Eye was the first Star Wars Expanded Universe book, written by Alan Dean Foster, who also wrote the New Hope
Splinters of the
novelization.
Mind's Eye was the one that was the book, if I remember correctly, that was written before they had Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
because they did.
That's what I just said before that.
No, well, I was going to say I had more to go into, but
Okay.
the reason was that Lucas did not know if they were going to have a funding to make the second movie.
second one.
So they were going to do a book. And this is the one where it takes place that Luke is like a completely different character. He like slaps Leia a bunch of times.
What?
Yeah.
I need to read it. I don't know if I ever read it.
If I remember correctly, Vader and Luke fight.
Wow.
And Vader, I think, loses a limb. Oh man, I don't know, but
Weird.
yeah,
I'll
that's
have to read it. I think my dad has a copy somewhere. Episode 4, New Hope, came out May 25th, 1977.
Yes.
This book came out February 12th, 1978. So not too long after, but
yeah, like
long enough that the public had time to digest.
But yeah, the reason that there's
I didn't know this. New Hope had a budget of $11 million. I didn't realize it was that low.
no.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's why they picked it, is because they didn't. If it didn't take off, they weren't going to make another one.
Yeah, but fun fact. That's why that came out before Empire Strikes Back, is because Empire Strikes Back was just the thought. It never thought it was going to happen.
And it didn't come out until 1980.
Yeah,
had a budget of $18 million. Episode 6 had a budget of $32.5 million. I got to go back and check because I know the budget for the sequel trilogy was high, but just for fairness, we should go back through. So I'm just going to start from here. Revenge of the Sith. Actually, no, because this is going to be a bigger number than any of these. Oh, no, it's not. Phantom Menace had a budget of $115 million. So over 10 times the budget of A New Hope.
Probably because Lucas paid out all that on his own.
Yeah. 120 for Attack of the Clones. But then Revenge of the Sith was made with only $113 million.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that for the best looking of those three movies, Revenge of the Sith was the cheapest.
I think,
and the longest.
I think by that point CGI had gotten cheap enough. I think that was. I think that was the cost of CGI had shrunk.
It can't. I mean, yeah. I guess there was a big
It was
jump
a
during that
3-year
time.
difference. Yeah. Or was it 2? Or was it
Phantom
only
Strikes
1?
Back came out in '99, and then
You mean Phantom or?
Phantom Menace came out in '99.
Phantom Menace.
And then Revenge of the Sith came out.
I almost said Phantom of the Opera. I was like, that's not a Star
I
Wars
blanked
film.
on Revenge of the Sith for a minute there.
Yeah, it's all
Revenge
good.
of the Sith came out in 2005.
Yes, there's a 5-year difference.
Yeah. 6. 6.
That's so weird that
Yeah.
those films came out. That's still
But,
weird.
so I actually have a point to your previous point with the scene with Bill Burr, because I was just thinking about it in the way you put it. I think the best part of that scene, because it's generally political,
Yeah.
is it's not that the Empire had good intentions behind it, but it was that the people of the Empire actually genuinely believed in the ideology.
Yeah. Well, that's
And it was that those people's lives weren't worth the system working.
Well, that's the point. Like, I think we've said it
Yeah.
before in the shows. Like, the reason that the First Order does not work is because they were just basically evil to be evil. Where the Empire,
Yeah.
every chance that they get, every chance they get to show you, the Empire
Believes in it.
believes what they're doing, and they're not all bad. Like, they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
there's a reason for what they. I mean, like that one dude in The Mandalorian says to Mando at the time, he goes, "The Empire has been gone for a couple of years. Has the universe around you looked better since?" Has things looked better since the Empire fell?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, they
Yeah.
haven't. You're right. They look worse.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and that was the
So-
oh, go ahead.
Of the sequel movies, stop looking. Which one do you think had the highest budget?
Oh, you're asking. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Which one had the highest
Last
budget?
Jedi.
Yeah, no, the one before it.
Force Awakens?
Force Awakens.
No.
The
Oh,
Rise of-
wait, I'm sorry.
Last Jedi's the middle one.
I got them out of order. The one in the middle because it sucked the
Last
worst.
Jedi. Yeah.
So in order, Force Awakens had a budget of $200 million.
Oh, that was the most, or is that lowest to highest?
Lowest to highest.
Okay.
Second highest was Rise of Skywalker at $275 million.
I'm gonna say I knew the answer to this.
And
one.
Last Jedi came in first by $317 million. They made this movie that sucked for how many times does 11 million go into 375 million? It's a lot. But that many times more money to make a worse movie.
That many times
That
more
many.
money.
Yeah. I couldn't be bothered to do math.
That's funny.
It's like 30 times or,
No, yeah,
or
that-
40 times.
Yeah, that's-
less than 40.
That's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, just ridiculous how much money they throw at these things. And they still make money. Like these movies made gangbusters.
Oh, well, and I'll be honest with you. If those movies released standalone, the second one ruins it.
Yeah.
And nobody goes to see the third one. But because it had the Star Wars label on it,
Yep.
it carried them.
And everyone said the third one's gonna save it. It's gonna save it all. I was
Mm.
one person who said it. And then I remember walking out of the theater from Rise of Skywalker and turning to my friends and saying, I didn't like it.
Well, I remember when... So I was a defender the whole time where I was like, okay, it's a trilogy. The first movie is not supposed to come to a conclusion. I was like, the second movie is not supposed to come to a conclusion. But with as bad as the second one was, I was like, there is only a... And like when I say a finite amount of ways to fix it, I meant like there was only like maybe 2 possible ways to salvage it so that you could go back and look at the movies and say, wow, that was awesome.
I called it though. By the way, when it just hit me. I called it back when I said after we had finished seeing The Force Awakens, I was like, Snoke's gonna die, and these films are gonna be about Kylo Ren being Supreme Leader Snoke's.
Yeah.
And I was right.
And it's
it's so
funny.
hard.
It's been talked to death, and we're running hot. We're running high on time here, but it's been talked to death by a million other people. Is that the whole issue comes from the fact that it wasn't one director with one vision across the 3 movies.
Oh, yeah.
Say what you want about the sequel trilogy,
Oh, yeah.
but they knew what they were working. Or prequel trilogy. Say what you want about it. At least they knew where they were going. Like they had a clear place to go with it.
Well, and that's the thing is like as much crap as people give about the prequels, my gripe with it was that I didn't like the story they told. It wasn't that they didn't tell a story. I didn't like the story they told. And like with the newest ones, it's like I don't like.
Man, I wanted to
like any.
I
of
wanted to
Yeah.
love all 3 characters, and I did. Poe, I didn't. I didn't love Poe at all. I was like, Poe's whatever. But Finn and Rey, I did like those characters. I was like, I
But
like them.
the
I can get
problem
behind
is
them.
that
But
all
Rey
3
was
of them
too OP.
The more you look at all of them, the House of Cards just starts to fall over. Is that Rey is just good at everything she tries the minute she tries it.
Oh yeah.
Finn is just such a wishy-washy character, and Poe's the same way. Is that he's just his character is so inconsistently written.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing that killed me about Poe too was especially what they did in the second one. Like the first movie, he comes in, he's completely competent, he knows what he's doing, and like they started it off well in the second one where he's overconfident,
Yeah.
and that's his fault. Is like he's definitely competent, but he like overestimates himself. Instead of that being the fault, it just turns him into a complete and utter useless person.
That's what
But
I was
he-
so
he's
certain.
he's asking the right questions in that situation, but then Holdo is just such an idiot who doesn't
yeah.
trust him. Someone put it this way in a video I was watching. A lot of that movie, and well, specifically that subplot, is fixed by a single line. Do you have any idea what type of line might be added that fixes that whole Poe and Holdo subplot?
No.
All you have to do is have one person on that bridge or on that ship have a throwaway line saying, like, we think there might be a mole on board. And suddenly everything she does makes a little more sense.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
then
I
you
see
see
what
why
you're
she's
saying.
withholding information.
I see what you're saying.
But without
Okay.
without a reason like that,
Oh, yeah.
why would you keep this information from your he's a fleet admiral, isn't he? Or he's a fleet general?
He's probably.
I think he's just no, because she's
She's a
I think
vice admiral.
he was a captain. I thought.
I don't think he is. I think he was
Oh, no,
higher
he
and
was
then got
either-
busted down.
He
to
was
captain.
brought down to captain.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say either
you're
way,
not-
he was high up enough to where like if he looked at his guys and said, "Hey guys, we're doing something," they were gonna follow.
Yes, and he should have been included in the meetings where this plan came up.
Yeah.
Like, he is the third highest ranking person on that ship.
Yeah.
How is he not included in this?
Well, that's
Oh,
what they
yeah.
tried to sell it off as, like that was Leia's, like, on purpose, because Leia knew he was a hothead. I was like,
But
he had no.
But that was
proved-
exactly why you sit him down and say, "Hey, listen, this is the
Yeah.
plan because I know that if I don't tell you, I'm gonna go nuts."
Also,
And also,
I-
you're gonna have a mutiny on your hands because most of the crew trust you implicitly.
Yeah.
And if you feel uncomfortable in the situation, so will they.
Well, yeah, and especially when you know that, and that was the big issue. You usually follow the most competent person around you. Like, I've been in places where there's been people that don't have all the information, but because they were so competent, people were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna follow that guy." And it's like, wait, hold on, he doesn't know everything that's going on yet, so he's actually wrong. But it's not because he isn't competent.
If you want to know what his ranks were, so he was a commander, and then he was demoted to a captain, and then was put as an acting general in the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, which made no sense.
That's it's not how-
Captain usually a higher rank than commander.
I guess not in Disney Star Wars.
At least in navies, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think captain's higher than commander.
But no, that was one of those things where
They're
like
the Air Force, I guess. I don't
in-
know.
yeah.
that was one of those things in the Star Wars thing, and this is it's kind of hard. There's a lot of other things that go into my opinion on this. If you pay attention to politics a lot, there's a lot of political things that they wanted to put into the movie.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things where like they wanted to show that without getting too political, they wanted to show that women could do it and that men weren't always the most competent people. So in the process, instead of like bringing Leia, who was a competent person, like in the original trilogy,
Oh, yeah.
instead of doing things like that, where it's like, hey, listen, this person is competent and a woman, they were like, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make the women right and the men wrong.
Yeah.
How do we do that? And it was so obvious what they were doing when you watch it like through that lens and like you actually look at what happened in the characters.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, all these decisions don't make
man.
sense
Yeah,
because
no,
I
if
can
you-
see what you're trying to tell
If you want a better
me.
movie like that, watch, like you said, New Hope, where these guys stumble their way through a Death Star to rescue her, and the only person after that point who gets any headway is her.
Yeah.
But another brilliant one to watch is Alien.
Yeah.
Is Alien? Their genders don't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just who they are, and it doesn't
yeah.
tie into their competence. Like, I don't think any of the men or women get killed because of incompetence for gender stuff. They
Yeah.
get killed for incompetence, a couple of them, but it's just general.
It's just general
They
incompetence.
were being incompetent.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of one of those things I like. If you notice, like if you spend any time online, Netflix like gets hammered for this all the time, where they're like, man, we really need a diverse cast. Let's make them different types of people rather than different people.
Yeah.
And it's like, and
Yeah,
that's
being
and that-
black is not a character trait.
Well, yeah,
Like-
and that's the thing that's super frustrating is like if you look at older movies had phenomenal characters. It was just one of those things where it's like, okay, we can rearrange it so that the main character is of a different, what was it? I'm trying to think of
Demographic?
yeah,
Like-
yeah. It's like you can make the main character a different demographic and it would still work.
Yeah.
It's like, but we've in especially like Netflix specifically because like it's very obvious in Netflix where it's like, hey, listen, I'm not going to do any character development with you, but you're supposed to understand who this character is because of their demographic. It's like that doesn't make any sense. And the story sucks.
Disney also did weird things with like the marketing for these stories too that it hit me because I remember that one of the big things that people were talking about in when the Last Jedi was coming out, I was like, for the first time ever, there's gonna be like an openly gay character in Star Wars. There's gonna be openly gay characters in Star Wars, and I was like, all right,
And
it's probably gonna be Poe and Finn.
Yeah.
Like, it, for some reason, everyone was just like, yeah, that's true.
That's
it's
it.
probably gonna be them, and I was like, that's fine. I'm up with that.
Yeah,
I'm cool.
they had so
Yeah.
much chemistry.
And then
Like-
at the end of the film, when we walked out the second time of watching it, because I watched it twice in the same night, I walked out. I was like, where was the gay character that they were talking about?
yeah,
It
was like
didn't
way
even.
in the background.
Yeah,
No.
it was in the foreground for that long.
Yeah, it didn't even.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is,
Do you know what it is, Zach?
Yeah, well, I remember because I remember it being a big deal in articles, and then when it came out, everyone was like, "All these articles made this big deal for like half a second." It was two people in the background, that kissed, and
Yeah.
then it was immediately gone.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's
And
not
it's like,
what that means.
So then Disney just didn't have the guts to make two of their main characters who, in the first movie, they had so much chemistry together. Everyone was shipping them together. Is like, these two characters are going to get together.
I just think it's
Finn
fun.
and Poe. But then they just don't do that. Instead, in that same movie, they put those three in a weird love triangle type thing.
We don't
Yeah,
even see
it was such a terrible
Well,
setup.
they even ended the Last Jedi with like Poe giving Rey like love eyes or sex eyes.
Yeah.
And then they just cut the end. It's like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
even find out who the gay character was. Which for after the Last Jedi, I thought, was Hodo the gay character? I was like, okay, sure, that's weird. Why
She's
talk
dead
about?
now, so you've fallen deep into the pit of kill your gays trope.
Well, I was like, why are we even talking about that? We've never even seen her show any affection to any other like to the same sex. And then then it like hit me when we watched The Rise of Skywalker. Finally, we saw the gay characters. Like, that was the gay character at no
Yeah.
point.
Was it Billy Lord?
I don't know what
she
her
one of
name
them,
is.
or were they just background characters that no one knew the name of?
No,
It was literally just two background characters.
It was but she had a bunch of speaking lines in the Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think it was Billy Lord.
Maybe that's her name. I don't know her name. I don't.
It was Carrie Fisher's daughter.
No, it was the other girl because it was the older woman.
Oh, it's okay.
Her-
But
it
yeah,
was-
no, that's one of those things where
It
like,
wasn't this one.
No, it wasn't. There was an like a little bit
All
older
right, I'm just
woman.
gonna search it. Star Wars gay.
Star Wars.
Be careful.
That is such a weird search. But no, yeah, that's one of those.
The first thing you type when type in Star Wars gay is Finn and Poe in
Yes.
the pictures.
Yeah, I typed in Star Wars gay, and the first handful of pictures are Poe and Finn and Poe.
Yeah,
But then here, it's the one with the big nose.
Yes.
Yeah, one, and who has a couple speaking lines in Last Jedi and not many in the second one.
Yeah,
or
she
the
just
other
hangs
one.
out on.
I think the big issue with
So
it
random.
is like Disney does this and like a lot of like media do this, but people don't do this on their own.
Robot
is
chicken.
like it's one of those things where, oh geesh, you're looking at like over 20 years ago now, it was unacceptable to do something like that. It's commonplace now.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, and it's one of those things where like they get all excited about the win, and it's like, yeah, but like you're suffering your characters. You're not building You're not building cool characters. You just want to
and
make
it's
a
thing
point.
of like, you know what? If that's the character, okay.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
But these companies are using it as a marketing tool.
Yeah,
they're
that's what
like,
makes it
look
so
at how
not
woke we
genuine.
are.
Yeah.
we put a gay person in here, and it's like, okay, so you're just using someone's sexuality as a marketing tool,
Well,
How are
oddly
they
enough,
the allies? I don't understand. That's the part of it.
oddly enough,
and
like,
they
it-
change their profile picture to a rainbow
Listen.
once a year.
Hey,
I like-
listen, man, real quick though, we're getting real political about this, and I know
We are
try to stay away.
and
from
we're
it.
really
Go ahead,
we've
Zach.
run over an hour.
Oh,
Zach, go ahead.
I was gonna say Legend of Korra did it really well. Where
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
So Legend of Korra did this thing where like over the series, Korra like fell in love with the only other female character.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things where it's like, oh wow, you built a really cool character that it made sense for her to get to that point.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where like when you have a story that doesn't like implicitly have to like throw it in your face, it makes a huge difference.
And just like Force Awakens was with Finn and Poe.
Yeah.
Is that there was not a big step between how the chemistry they had in that movie to they like each other. Like. That was not a big step to make.
Dude, and the best part of it is like there's a bunch of memes that go on with the clones about like, well, if you're a clone, is it gay to be with yourself because we're a clone?
And you guys-
they could have made a joke like that with them
Yeah.
where both of them would be like just kind of like tiptoeing around it. And then it's one of those things where it's like neither one of us were like super open about it because neither one of us knew if the other was okay with it.
Yeah.
And like you can make it a cool story between the two. Like
That'd be a weird.
But you want to
incest
know why
baby.
they won't make their main... You know why Disney will never make one of their main characters gay? Especially in something like Star Wars?
Because they got to get to everybody. They got to get everybody's
Because
money.
China won't show it.
That's
oh
true.
no, they won't.
And they'll lose out on all that money. So they can't afford to have gay characters.
Which, by the way,
Which that poor company, like, they'd like to represent you,
yeah.
but only if it doesn't cost them money.
Well,
Funny how that works.
If you want another reason to be angry at China, they just classified homosexuality as a mental disorder.
They didn't already?
Yeah, it's official through their courts now that it is now
my
considered a
God.
mental
That's
disorder.
cute. That's
Yeah,
cute. World.
so-
Good
Cool.
job.
Great way to persecute even more people.
Yeah, I know. If you guys couldn't tell, we don't really like China on
We
this
don't.
podcast.
Although our podcast, I think, is available.
Unless
Well,
they
no,
want
I
to
don't
pay
think-
me, sell my soul,
They wanna
please.
pay me.
Just kidding. No.
And on that depressing note, well, not really.
Listen, I want to make a comment real quick.
Okay.
I know that this show always runs late, and the one complaint we get is because it doesn't feel like it has any structure. But I feel like this fits us way better than trying to fit a script and structure. So if you're angry that we went over an hour, I apologize.
I know who you're calling
But this
out, and
conversation
they're not going to
is
be
great.
happy.
Who am I calling out?
You're calling. I'll talk about it after the show.
Who am I calling out?
We'll talk about it after the show.
let's
You're calling out a
dox a
specific
complainter.
person right now.
I'm not calling out a specific person. You've told me that people complain about it all the time, right?
And who do I get
In
my
general.
feedback from?
Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
see. I take it back.
Okay.
Take it back.
I'm not calling it out.
Next week we have a very special program set up for you guys. No spoilers. Some faithful listeners will know what it is. But anyone else, you're just gonna have to wait.
See, I thought it was the faithful listeners.
You're gonna have to wait
Not thinking-
and see what our exciting new thing is.
I just want to say I'm not calling those people out that you're saying I'm calling out. I was just calling out that apparently I thought we had a bunch of people complain about it.
No.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
That's
Thank
funny.
you guys for listening. I've been Matt. If you want to follow the show, you can find it at Pop Culture Unboxing pretty much everywhere. I don't really care where you find it. Just find it. Tell your friends about us because, I just insulted you by saying that you can just find us wherever. I don't care. And I don't know why that's an insult, but I felt like I should apologize for it. Anyway, tell your friends about us because we're great.
Yeah.
You can find me at Matt Ross VO on Twitter.
Red Steak Ryan everywhere. Ryan, you can find Ryan there.
Ryan.
The person that I supposedly
The person who has the word Ryan in his...
yeah.
his
The
tag.
person I supposedly called out, please don't come after me. I wasn't attacking you.
And you can find me, Jessica, at little_leaf, LIEF. That underscore is important because I am not a middle-aged Brazilian woman.
But your name's Jessica.
But I'm not a middle-aged Brazilian woman.
No. He's an elderly Brazilian
Press an
woman.
X to doubt.
I can't believe I haven't made that joke yet.
What?
That he's an elderly Brazilian woman.
They got me.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. I love you.
Bye.
Have fun.